8 kids and one of them might be autistic. Hi, I'm Rosalie. I'm a mom of 8 loving children, and recently we went to the pediatrician's office. So we saw the pediatrician and she suspected that one of my kids might be autistic. That was a total surprise to me. I never expected that any of them might be autistic. So she sent us to a specialist who then gave me a whole pile of forms to fill out. There's an 18-page form here to fill out and an additional 2-page form, so 19 pages in all. And if your child is old enough to go to school, there's also an additional 7-page form for each teacher and the 2-page form as well for all of them. So 9 pages for each teacher. It's like a whole psychoanalysis here. So if you're interested in starting the process yourself or you're just curious, I'm going to be filling out the form here in front of you so you can see what kind of questions they ask. Okay, I'm going to answer as much as I can of this. I've covered up the doctor's name and address. And let's see here, what do we have? Please attach a recent picture of your child. That's in this box here. Now, developmental behavioral disorder initial evaluation parent questionnaire. Child's name. I'm not going to be mentioning who this form is for, but like I said, I'm going to fill out as much of it as I can. Okay, name of person completing this form, date of birth, today's date. Okay, today's date is March 22nd, I believe, 2025. Name of person, Rosalie. I need to get another pen. Okay. Rosalie, relationship to child, mom. Family doctor, I can't fill that out here. Parents' names, Rosalie. Eugene. My late husband is the biological father of all of my children. Address, telephones, home, work, cell. So this is all pretty general stuff so far. In your own words, please list your main concerns. Well, I personally don't think there's anybody autistic, but as you know, I don't know a lot of my relatives, and so I don't know a lot of my family history. So there could be somebody in there, but I don't think any of my kids are autistic. Do you have any specific questions you would like answered? I'd have to think about that. Yeah, these two I'd have to think about later on. I'm not sure how to answer those. As I said, it was the pediatrician that had the suspicion and referred us to the specialist. Okay, so previous assessment. When, where, currently involved. Well, no, they are not involved in any psychological assessment except for this one. Speech language assessment. No, there is currently not one being done. Occupational. No. Audiology, hearing. No. So currently there's nothing being done except for this assessment. Are you aware of any assessment planned in the next 6 to 12 months? No. If yes, when and where by whom? I'll just put a line through that because there isn't any plans for that. Please attach any available reports from previous assessments to this questionnaire. Okay. So moving on to the next page. Has any treatment form, diet, medication, counseling, behavior modification, etc. been used in the past? If yes, please indicate date, form, treatment, how long treatment was provided. If medication was used, please indicate drug name, dose, schedule, any improvement, possible side effects. If the medication was stopped, please explain why. There was nothing. No, so I'll just write here, none. Child's current school, city, grade, classroom setting. Is it a regular classroom, classroom with EIP, and what grade? Special learning, special behavioral, special communication, other. And then how many students in the classroom? Resource room, are they in the resource room full-time or part-time? School contact person, teacher, principal, other, here. How do you feel about your child's school? And then you write that here. To the best of your knowledge, at what level is your child currently functioning? Example, grade level, 1 grade below, etc. And they want you to answer that for reading, spelling, math, and story writing. To the best of your knowledge, at what level is your child currently functioning? Oh wait, sorry, I went through that. If your child's not being evaluated by grade level for each of the following areas, rate his or her present progress. Okay, so reading, spelling, math, story writing. So we got less than adequate less than adequate progress, adequate, better than expected. So I guess you just put a check mark in whichever column. And please check boxes of acquired academic skills that are significantly above your child's age level, like identification of numbers, identification of letters, identification of shapes. This is reminding me of that Rain Man movie. That was a pretty good movie. Identification of colors, alphabet spelling, reading, reciting segments from videos of TV shows. Okay, next question. Do you consider your child to be learning and developing at the same rate as other children his or her age? If not, is it at a slower rate or a faster rate? Well, like half of my children had delayed speech. It comes from my father's side. He saw it in his family. One of my siblings had delayed speech as well, and half of my kids had delayed speech. But they grow out of it. Some of them have been in speech therapy at school. I did take one of them to speech therapy before they were old enough to go to school, and the assessment was done, the speech assessment, and she told me just to read the same book to the child every day. So, good question. I guess in the case of speech development, I would say no. If not, it is slower. I'll put speech. Slower, and I'll write speech. Okay. Do you consider your child's speech easy to understand? Did your child have a formal speech assessment? Yes. If yes, when? Did your child have speech therapy? If yes, for how long and when? Okay, now we're getting really specific here. So I don't know how much of this I should answer on YouTube. How does your child get along with the other members of the family? Great. Does your child follow the rules set down for your household school? Yes. Is your child invited to birthday parties? Yes, no. If yes, how often? Does your child accept change easily? Yes or no? Well, that's kind of hard to say because not a lot has changed. I mean, yes, their dad has passed away, but I'm still at home as I always have been. And we still live in the same house that we do. So in that regard, not a whole lot has changed. I don't know. I guess I would have to say yes, because there is a stability. If not, how does your child react to change? I'm going to say NA, not applicable. Okay. Now I'm talking about big change. Do they mean like little change, like as in, I guess that could be that too, that what they're asking for. Like, I mean, if they're accustomed to wearing the same coat and then the coat is old and needs to be thrown out and they need to wear a new coat, yeah, they would accept that. That wouldn't be a problem. What does your child dislike doing the most? I have no idea. What does your child enjoy doing the most? Well, I guess that would be playing, probably. Don't all children love playing the most? Okay, what are your child's main hobbies and interests? Please specify. I'll get to that later. And is your child obsessed with his, her interests, hobbies, and gets extremely upset when interrupted? No. If yes, please explain. Do these interests or hobbies interfere with your child's overall functioning? No. What are your child's greatest accomplishments? What do you enjoy about your child the most? Their temperament. There's like no mean behavior. There's no like taking things from other kids or any of that. Just such a wonderful person they are. And easy. They were an incredibly easy baby to take care of. In fact, I did not think that it was possible to have a baby that was that easy to take care of. Okay, early development. Approximate. I know the printer didn't do this. It actually looked like that on the PDF that they gave me. So I'll have to try and do my best to figure this out here. Early development. Approximately when did your child first accomplish the following? Okay, does your child have difficulty? Looks like skills development. If yes, specify. Oh, okay, this is for sleep. Okay, so do they have difficulty with sleep? I don't believe so. Dressing. I'll put no question mark because what does that say? I'm guessing it says skills. Something, looks like something and skills. Okay. Dressing. Does your child request you or another caregiver to be present when falling asleep? Oh, that must be under sleep still. This is all messed up, this section. Has your child come into your bedroom to sleep with you? Yes or no? Did you, child, begin to dress him herself? Oh, when did your child begin to dress him herself? Yes, no. Is this still a problem? Yes, no. When did it start? Does your child stay asleep through the night? Yes, no. At what age did your child feed him, herself with finger food? If not, please specify. At what age did your child eat with a spoon/fork? What time does your child get up in the morning? Is this a problem? Yes, no. What was your child a picky eater? As a infant, toddler, child, adolescent, all. Does your child have or has had nightmares, night terrors? Yes or no? Well, I'm going to circle no. No night terrors, nightmares. Was your child sensitive to certain textures or color of food? No. If yes, please specify at age. Did this coincide with an event? No, because they don't have a problem. If yes, please specify difficulty transitioning from pureed to regular table food. Well, with me, I always breastfed all of my kids, and then I didn't feed them a whole lot of baby food, like the jar baby food, because they don't like that. And if you taste it yourself, it tastes horrible. So what we would do, my husband and I, is I would of course breastfeed, and then after 6 months I would start transitioning them into solid food. I'd buy like the stage 1 baby food cereal, like rice cereal or something like that, and it would usually be rice cereal, although the doctor has told me that can cause constipation, so she recommends oat cereal instead. But anyway, it used to be rice cereal, and I'd mix breast milk in with that, and that's how we would get them starting on solid food. And then once they've developed more, we would feed them soft foods, you know, like mashed potatoes. Sometimes there would be like cooked carrots and mashed potatoes mixed, stuff like that. So we didn't buy a whole lot of store baby food. And then when it came to more like finger food, I would buy like some of those puffs, like those infant puff, like the stars, or like a rice, the rice rusks. What we would also do is called baby-led weaning, which is a very natural process. Okay, so here we're at difficulty. Did your child have difficulty transitioning from pureed to regular table food? If your child's diet is restricted, please specify. So, did they have difficulty transitioning from pureed to regular food table? Difficulty transitioning from pureed to regular table food? No. Toilet training. At what age was your child toilet trained? At what age was your child's bladder trained? At what age was child's bowel trained? Bedwetting, yes, no. If yes, when does this occur? Definitely no bedwetting. Okay, gross motor skills. Was your child very active, needing constant supervision? No. Is this still a problem? No. Was it difficult to take him/her out to public places, family gatherings? No. Please check any applicable boxes. Shows good balance, shows normal balance, shows poor balance, clumsy, accident prone, trips, spills. I would say normal? Normal balance. Bike riding. At what age did she learn to ride a bicycle? Biked without training wheels at how many years? Did your child have difficulty or become easily frustrated learning to ride a bike? Yes or no? Okay, catching, throwing. Easy to learn, moderate to learn, hard to learn. Climbing, fearful, fearless, crawled at age, or never crawled. Running, ran at age, had an awkward run, was a floppy runner, likes to spin, jumps when excited. Stair use, walked up changing feet at age. Downstairs at age, walked at age, walks on toes. Yes, no. Okay, next page. We're on to fine motor skills now. Did your child have difficulty buttoning pants, coat, tying shoes? Specify an age when accomplished each. Buttoning pants, buttoning coat, tying shoes. Okay, they're really thorough here. Did your child have difficulty drawing, coloring, writing, copying, staying online when writing? Did your child have difficulty cutting with scissors, fastening clothes, putting puzzles together, snapping, zippering pants and jacket? Yes or no? Was your child confused with left and right? Yes or no? What is your child's hand preference, left or right? Did your child have an early hand preference below the age of 2 years? Yes or no? Does your child have poor, good pencil control? Poor or good? Please provide us with a sample of your child's handwriting. Does your child have poor writing skills but excellent puzzle building skills? Yes or no? If yes, specify. If your child has motor difficulties, is he... My camera cut off. So here, where were we here? With the scissors, right? What is your child's hand preference, left or right? Does your child have an early hand preference below the age of 2 years? I don't think so. Does your child have poor, good pencil control? Poor, good. Please provide us with a sample of your child's handwriting. Does your child have poor writing skills but excellent puzzle building skills? Yes, no. If yes, please specify. If your child has motor difficulties, is he, she aware of them? Yes or no? Social development. How often does your child show affection towards you? Always, never, sometimes. Please explain. Did your child constantly pull him, herself away from others at an early age? I answered no. Was your child extremely social at an early age? No. Eye contact. Did your child avoid eye contact as an infant, toddler, child? No. If yes, is it still a problem? If not, at what age did your child engage in eye contact? Fears. Does your child have any fears? If yes, at what age did he, she become fearful? Did your child show any unusual fears? Elevator, steps, toilets, etc. Yes or no? If yes, please specify. Play. Where are your child's play skills? Awkward, atypical. Example, prefers to play with strings, wires, etc. rather than with normal toys. Yes or no? Does your child prefer to play alone rather with other children? Yes or no? If yes, at what age did he, she begin to play alone? If your child now plays with other children, though did prefer to play alone before, till what age did he, she play alone? Is your child interested in how things work? Example, open, close doors, spin wheels, took things apart, etc. Yes, no. I don't know. I think every kid is curious to an extent. Again, I'll have to think about that. Does your child engage in constructive play? Stacks objects, lines up stuff? Yes, no. Does your child seem to be totally consumed with his or her favorite play? Yes, no. If yes, would your child react with anger when interrupted? Yes, no. Does your child like to check for texture? Here, I'm going to circle no here. They don't get angry if they're interrupted in play. Does your child like to check for texture? Might smell, rub, keep objects very close to eye, would press against face, etc. Yes or no? No. Does your child love to play with toys that vibrate or make noise or spin? Well, again, even like fidget spinners became very mainstream. Had your child any trouble playing with other kids because he, she was bossy, withdrawn, rigid, insensitive, argumentative, other? Yes or no? Shyness. I guess you're supposed to write, explain here, and if they're shy, talk about it here. Social difficulties. Preschool, nursery school, kindergarten. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. So we've got poor interaction, socially immature, preferred to play alone, did not participate in circle time, had difficulties connecting, did not engage in cooperative play. Elementary school. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Often teased, overreacted to teasing with verbal physical aggression, a loner, avoidant, withdrawn, had difficulties picking up on verbal cues, often dominated classroom discussions, had difficulties making and or keeping friends, cried in unfamiliar settings or among unfamiliar people, does not need a caregiver. In other words, they're very independent. Happy to be alone, unaware of caregiver's absence. That's funny. Seems emotionally distant, ignores others, does not seek comfort or seeks it in a strange way. No concept of people's needs or feelings. would not share, lacks social give and take, example, in a conversation does not take turns, does not enjoy close physical contact, cuddling only in his/her terms, does not respond to the voices of others, might develop inflexible attachment to a single object or an object. Language development. I wonder what they mean by inflexible, because when I was a little kid, I had a habit of sucking my thumb, and I had a blanket that I was really attached to. I couldn't go to sleep without it. I think that was because I wasn't getting the love that I needed, so I needed something external to take the place and give me comfort. Okay, language development. Receptive skills. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Difficulty listening in a group. Difficulty remembering what has been said. Difficulty understanding individual words. Difficulty understanding whole sentences, instructions, or general conversation. Difficulty understanding questions. Difficulty following 1, 2, 3-step instructions. Difficulty remembering instructions. Difficulty understanding concepts, abstract information. Difficulty understanding humor or double meaning of words. Expressive language. Your child spoke his/her first words at what age? What is his/her first word? I'm sure I have it written down somewhere, but to be honest, I can't remember. Did he/she understand the meaning of his or first word? At what age did your child begin combining 1, 2, or 3 words? Your child did not use words till what age? Your child had limited small vocabulary till what age? Did your child have difficulty telling stories, finding appropriate words? Yes, no. If yes, please specify. Does your child have difficulty using language to express his or her feelings? Yes or no. Does your child have problems with vocal quality? Loud, soft, monotonous, high, low-pitched, harsh, hoarse. Hypernasal, hyponasal, repetitive. Yes, no. If yes, please specify. Does your child have problems with articulation? Yes, no. Your child had unintelligible speech till age. Did your child have difficulty with speech sounds or certain words, letters where word sounds were omitted? Poon instead of spoon. Yes. Substituted. Example, wabbit instead of rabbit. Distorted, boo instead of blue, or added. Does your child refer to himself, herself using the personal pronoun I, or by using his or her name? Does your child have difficulty understanding the past or future tense? Yes, no. Does your child say or nondescriptive words like that thing? Yes, no. Your child stuttered till what age? No stuttering. Pragmatic language. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Has difficulty beginning, ending conversations. Often changes the subject. Does not have idea of need to take turns and would talk even if the other person is not interested. Has difficulty judging the amount of information required, too much or too little. Has difficulty judging the relevancy of what was just said. Has difficulty modifying language if not understood. Tends to talk about subjects that are off topic. Is very precise, almost pedantic, and very literal. Sounds like a little professor. Only talks about the area of his or her interest, repeats questions excessively to the point of being socially inappropriate, fails to use appropriate greeting when meeting other people. Asks inappropriate questions. If your child has language difficulties, is he/she aware of them? Yes, no. Are these difficulties negatively affecting your child's self-esteem? Yes, no. If yes, please explain. Has your child learned to compensate for his/her language difficulties? Example, asking others for help, asking for repetition, using hand gestures, etc. Yes or no? If yes, please specify. Social history. guardian, name, age, marital status, relationship to child. So we got father, mother, step or foster parent. Family structure, who lives at home, siblings, ages, genders, and names. Marital history and present status. Married, common law, separated, divorce. Boy, I guess I've got to add a column here. Oh, I see, okay. Marital history and present status. I think I gotta add another column here. So I assume this is for those that live here. If parents are divorced, please describe visitation and contact with non-custodial parent. What was the marital discord? What is the involvement of absent parent? Stability at home, frequent moves. If yes, please specify. As I said, we lived in this same house for years. I think for here, I'm going to have to add widow and that would be over 1.5 years. Okay. Financial status. Other stresses, death, accidental, loss of job, serious illness, etc. Please specify. I'm assuming this is for the parents. Accident, okay. Please specify. Father passed away unexpectedly. Did I spell that right? Expectedly. 1.5 years ago. Okay, family discipline. Who disciplines? How? Disciplining style. Controlling, lenient, hands-off, strict, firm, harsh, etc. Okay, what I do is I tell them not to do something. Often they will listen. At least half the time they'll listen, depending on who I'm talking to. If they're not listening to me, then I put a consequence in. So I'll say, well, okay, if you don't do this, then you're not going to get that. I add a consequence into the situation. And usually that settles them down. If they don't, then let's say they don't want to get off the chair or something like that, then I will physically have to go and take them off the chair. That's just an example. So I don't know which one of these, lenient, hands off. I don't know what that is. Strict, firm, harsh. Definitely not strict, definitely not harsh, and definitely not controlling. Parents' work history. Mother, occupation, employment, outside, inside, home, flexible hours, travel away from home. No. Flexible hours. Well, if you call YouTube a job, yes. Outside, inside, home. Inside. Employment, I guess I would just put YouTube. Occupation. Stay at home. Oh, there's no space for this. Stay at home. Mom. I ran out of space there. Parents' medical history. Education. Highest grade completed. Degrees, learning problems, grades repeated. Behavioral problems as child, teen. Substance abuse, medical, psychiatric illness. Same thing for the father. Have any of your close relatives ever had any of the following problems? Grandparents, parental siblings, or their children, aunts and uncles, nieces or nephews? If yes, please explain. If yes, please specify. Heart problems. I know, like my dad did. Unexpected death as a young adult. Thyroid difficulties, social difficulties, hyperactivity, aggression, ADHD, learning disabilities, dyslexia, math, spelling, writing, repeated grades. Speech problems, late to talk, problems with articulation and stuttering. Depression, suicide, schizophrenia, bipolar, anxiety, autism, mental retardation, developmental delay. Substance abuse, alcoholism, gambling. Chief complaints, anger and aggression, verbal anger and aggression. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Screaming, lying, swearing, other. Name calling, insulting, threatening. None of that. Physical anger and aggression. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Hitting, pulling hair, scratching, other. Kicking, fighting, property destruction. None of that and none of that. Target of angry behavior. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Sibling, peers, teachers, parents, other. Nope. No angry behavior. Location, setting, homeschool, etc. Please specify. Well, there's none of that. Timing, frequent throughout the day or during particular times of the day. No, there's none. During structured activities, classroom, etc., or during unstructured activities. Playground, please specify. Timing, frequent throughout the day or during particular times of the day, please specify. During structured activities, classroom, etc., or during unstructured activities, playground, etc., please specify. Does your child show symptoms of aggression and anger during unsupervised time when other children crowd his or her space? No. Does your child show symptoms of aggression and anger during transitions? No. Does your child only demonstrate anger and aggression on weekends? No. At custodial or non-custodial parents' home? Please specify. Other, please specify. That's none. Participating factors for anger and aggression. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Child has had limits placed on him, her. Child in close proximity to other children, child threatened physically, child provoked by another child or adult, child frustrated with inability to complete, begin, etc. a task. Child doesn't want to do what he or she is asked to do. There is no apparent trigger for aggression. Like I said, none of that. Disturbing behaviors. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Argumentative, annoys others, overreacts to appropriate rule settings, swears at parents, teachers, defiant, rude, talks back, challenges, disputes, always has to have the last word, blames others, denies all responsibility, persistently resists to other people's ways or doing things. Temper tantrums, loses temper, spiteful, disobedient, stubborn, non-compliant, irritable, resentful, negative, provokes others, refuses to cooperate, follow rules during group activities. Frequently cheats during games or makes up own rules to games. That was my sister. Refuses to do what others tell him, her to do. Bullies others. Physical cruelty to animals and people. Uses weapons. Gets into fights on the playground, on the bus, in the neighborhood, etc. Is mean to other children, foul-mouthed, insulting language, threatens, intimidates. Deliberate destruction of property known to belong to others. Vandalism, graffiti, sets fires. Well, some of this stuff sounds pretty bad. Often lies to get out of trouble. A pathological liar. Will cheat, lie in order to win. Aren't a lot of people like that? Selfishly accepts favors without any desire to return them. Shoplifts, break into people's homes, cars, stores, blackmails, always in trouble. truant from school, has run away from home, please specify number of times, violates curfew, stays out all night, disobeys school's rules, drives cars without a license, substance use before age 13, and recurrent use after age 13. Oh, that's a whole long list. Okay, associated symptoms. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Low esteem, low frustration tolerance, drug, alcohol, tobacco use, mood problems, school suspension, inattentive, hyperactive behaviors. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. As a baby, cried more than other babies. No. Was colicky, irritable, hard to console, difficult to soothe? No. Difficulty sleeping? No. Running since learning to walk? No. Very active, accident prone, slow to establish eating sleeping pattern, very temperamental? No. As a young child, overreactive, impulsive, inattentive, fidgety, poor, inconsistent school achievement, disorganized, fails to complete homework, schoolwork, disrupts shopping, family visits, vacations, etc. As an adolescent, restlessness, poor concentration, spaciness, disorganized, poor follow-through, difficulty working independently, impulsivity, drug, alcohol use or abuse, early tobacco use, low self-esteem, emotional behavioral problems, poor self-help skills such as needs constant reminders to brush teeth, personal hygiene, etc. Troubles assuming personal responsibility and independence, non-compliant, hostile, emotional liability, low tolerance for frustrations, temper outbursts, very argumentative, particularly with parents, disruptive, intruding on others, takes 4 times longer to complete homework than expected, poor quality of schoolwork, grades lower than expected or erratic, performs below ability, grade retention, failure to graduate, expulsion, may seem unresponsive to punishment or rewards, less socially competent, tactless, bossy, obstinate, unwilling to take turns, provokes, disrupts others, difficulty with authority, betrays friends, great difficulty keeping friends, peers, avoid, reject them. Learning problems, math. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Difficulty performing math operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Trouble counting, problems with identifying, using money, cannot tell time. Unable to constantly add, subtract single-digit numbers. Unable to complete any multiple-digit item. Unable to memorize numbers and repeat only in numerical order from 1 and up, but unable to recognize numbers out of sequence, and cannot say the numbers backwards. Difficulty comprehending mathematical terms operations, cannot analyze and make association between manipulative and abstract numbers. Misreads operational signs. Problems learning math facts like multiplication tables. Transposes numbers. Reading. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Unable to identify beginning, ending sounds in words, cannot recognize vowel sounds. Example, substitute B for T in the word ball. Difficulty comprehending what has just been read, relies on pictures for sentence comprehension. Unable to recognize sounds and their sequence in words. Unable to read simple stories. May add or rearrange letter within words when reading single words. Slow reading, frequently hesitates while reading. Unable to match upper and lower case letters, difficulty memorizing the alphabet. Would skip words, reverse them, substitute them while reading. Rhyming problems, unable to provide rhymes for specific words. Example, cat, hat. Problems with spelling and letter reversal. Example, animals, mammals. Writing. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Awkward pencil grip, inconsistent soft hard pencil pressure. Difficulty copying from the blackboard, poorly formed letters, too much, too little space between words, does not separate words. Please provide a sample of your child's writing. Slow to write. poor spelling, punctuation, using upper and lower letters correctly, poor paragraph constructions, grammatical errors, poor story development, short, concrete, simple sentences. In high school, has problems with note-taking, essay exams, problems with handwriting, etc. Motor tics. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Oh yeah, boy, we're getting through this. Eye blinking, grimacing, mouth stretching, facial twitches, taps hands, feet, touching, twirling, retracing steps, knee bending, picking at the skin. Vocal tics. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Make strange noises, barks, growls, clicks, snorts, sniffs, cough, clears throat. Repeats words, phrases, or sounds. Uses inappropriate words. Repetitive behaviors. You know, to be honest, I think my brother should fill out one of these questionnaires. I don't talk to him now, but some of these things I do know he did have. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Endless body, head rocking, head shaking, repetitive twirling, spinning, running, jumping, especially when excited, putting everything in their mouth, hand waving, tapping, playing with hands, fingers, body tensing, teeth grinding, playing with saliva, hyperventilating. Stereotype behaviors. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Fascination with parts of objects. Example, spinning wheels, flashing lights, playing with shadows. Interest in non-toy objects. Example, pieces of wire or strings. Repetitive play. Example, spinning, flicking, throwing, stacking, lining up, sorting, opening, and closing. Seems more interested in objects than in people. Obsessively fascinated with unusual things for their age. Example, bus schedule, numbers, letters, stop signs, etc. Restricted interest, unusual for age. Example, weather, tornadoes, natural disasters, dinosaurs. Inflexibility, very distressed over minor changes in their environment, super defiant when others try to redirect his or her play or social behavior. Apparent need to perform specific ritual patterns such as spinning, flapping, flicking, rocking, twirling, clapping, etc. Repetitive play habits, play rigidity, lack of imagination or imitation. Would act out dialogue from previously watched movies using specific toys. I used to do that as a kid. I played with Barbies a long time, acting out movie scenes. Fascination with motion and visual stimuli. Fans such as spinning or rhythmic movement, linear patterns, shy surfaces, and lights. Sensory problems. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Is overly sensitive to pain. Is overly sensitive to being touched or hugged. Is overly sensitive to being in crowded places, family gatherings, malls, etc. Is overly sensitive to food texture. Is overly sensitive to bright lights. Is overly sensitive to smell. Is overly sensitive to clothing. Inconsistent response to their name being called. Please specify any other sensory problem. There's none of that. Okay, emotions. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Avoidance, school refusal. Breathing disturbances. Example, takes deep breaths, breathes between sentences, trouble catching his, her own breath. Swallowing difficulties, constantly requests to drink water. Crying, clinging, and regressive behavior. Example, thumb sucking, baby talk, immature speech. Fainting or passing out, tiredness, overall weakness, restlessness, unable to sit still, and tapping pencil. Changes position frequently in their seat, freezes, unable to move. Voice crackles, shakes, nervousness, nervous habits, nail biting, chewing on, pencil pen, plays with hair or with clothes. Easily distracted, agitated, and very impatient. Sweating, chills, flushes, cold, clammy, sweaty hands and palms, goosebumps, white as a ghost. Dry mouth, lump in throat, chest pain, discomfort, feeling of tight chest, headaches, dizziness, abdominal pain, sleep disturbances, particularly difficulties falling asleep, tense muscles, especially in the neck, shoulder area, dilated pupils, everything looks blurry. Trouble concentrating, worrywart, fear of losing parents, dying, being attacked or rejected. Has few friends, reluctant to attend sleepover, play dates, summer camp, parties, etc. Clingy, insecure, timid, unsure of him, herself. Inflexible, rigid, cannot cope unless everything is just right. Overly sensitive, self-inducing pressure for perfection. Extreme silliness, irritability, which may include being demanding or bossy. Super impatient to the point of agitation. Disregard for authority, quick temper, intense emotions, very aggressive, explosive, unable to calm down, self-centered. Some adults are still self-centered. Increased interest in matters. In younger kids, increased exposing self or initiating conversation inappropriate for age. In adolescents, obsessive interest in and increased activity. Hypersensitive, agitated, poor self-care, cannot get out of bed. Crying, teary, fearful, never smiles, unable to concentrate, school problems, refusal, feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, worthlessness. Downward gaze, hides behind hair or bangs. Uncommunicative, expressionless, unmotivated. Clingy, aggressive, irrational fears, lack of interest in any activities, bowel, sleep, and appetite disturbances. Substance abuse. Self-critical, dwells on past failures and lost opportunities. Self-pity, mind reading, assumes no one likes them. Negative, self-guilt and blame. Suicidal thoughts. Obsessive compulsive behaviors. Compulsions are competitive ritualistic behaviors, whereas obsessions are recurrent and persistent thoughts. Common obsessions. Thoughts in children. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Fears of being dirty, touched, contaminated, disgusted with body secretions like saliva, urine, etc. Would never touch animals. Trash or dirt from the fear of becoming sick or transferring infection to others. Is fascinated and collects everything regarding cartoon characters or superheroes. Worries about their future, possibility of war, poverty, crime, environmental destruction, hopelessness. Likes routines and seems inflexible. Afraid of saying or doing something embarrassing. Fear of stealing or harming someone. Fear of losing things, therefore hoards things. Obsessed with numbers, lucky or unlucky. Colors, words, etc. Please describe if any of the above occur. Common compulsions, need to do in children. Please check any of the following that are applicable to your child. Excessive hand washing, excessive use of toilet paper or prolonged showering, toothbrushing because of the fear of being dirty. Checking behaviors like if the doors are locked, if they made a mistake. Repetitive behaviors like rereading, erasing, rewriting. Counting behaviors like always counting to a certain number, saying certain words. The need for symmetry, arranging personal items in a specific way, hoarding things, difficulty throwing things away, saving bits of paper, strings, etc. Superstitious behaviors like stepping over cracks on the road, touching an object in a certain way in order to avoid something bad happening. The need to involve another person, usually a parent, in a ritual like asking repeatedly the same question, certain mealtime rituals involving specific utensils. The need to tell, ask, or confess, excessive list-making, need to do things just right. The need to touch, tap, or rub everything they see. Please describe if any of the above occur. And then there's a blank page here. I assume that's just if you want to write any extra stuff that isn't covered in this form. Now we're on to this one. It has the name of a doctor on the top. I assume this form has been created by this doctor. Name, gender, age, grade. Ethnicity. Circle 1, which best applies. African American, Asian, Caucasian, Hispanic, other. Completed by type of class, class size. Now this is also for the parent to fill out, not just the teachers. For each item, check the column which best describes this child. So we got not at all, just a little, quite a bit, and very much. Oh, number 1. Often fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes in schoolwork or tasks. Often has difficulty sustaining attention in tasks or play activities. Often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. Often does not follow through on instructions and fails to finish schoolwork, chores, or duties. Often has difficulty organizing tasks and activities. Often avoids, dislikes, or reluctantly engages in tasks requiring sustained mental effort. Often loses things necessary for activities. Example, toys, school assignments, pencils, or books. Often is distracted by extraneous stimuli. Often is forgetful in daily activities. Often has difficulty maintaining alertness, orienting to requests, or executing directions. So remember, this is not at all, just a little, quite a bit, very much. Often fidgets with hands or feet or squirms in seat. Often leaves seat in classroom or in other situations in which remaining seated is expected. Often runs about or climbs excessively in situations in which it is inappropriate. Often has difficulty playing or engaging in leisure activities quietly. Often has on the go or often acts as if driven by a motor. Often talks excessively. Often blurts out answers before questions have been completed. Often has difficulty awaiting turn. Often interrupts or intrudes on others, butts into conversations, games. Often has difficulty sitting still, being quiet, or inhibiting pulses in the classroom or at home. Often loses temper, often argues with adults, often actively defies or refuses adult requests or rules, often deliberately does things that annoy other people, often blames others for his/her mistakes or behavior, often touchy or easily annoyed by others, often is angry and resentful, often is spiteful or vindictive, often is quarrelsome, often is negative, defiant, disobedient, or hostile toward authority figures. Often makes noises, humming, or odd sounds. Often is excitable, impulsive. Often cries easily. Often is uncooperative. Often acts smart. Often is restless or overactive. Often disturbs other children. Often changes mood quickly and drastically. Often easily frustrated if demands are not met immediately. Often teases other children and interferes with their activities. Well, most of this I would just have to check the not at all. In fact, probably all of it. Check the column which best describes this child. Often is aggressive to other children. Picks fights with bullies. Oh, I'm supposed to put a check mark. Oh well. Often is destructive with property and or others. Often is deceitful, steals, lies, forges copies of other work or cons. Often and seriously violates rules. Is truant, runs away, completely ignores class rules, has persistent pattern of violating the basic rights of others or major societal norms. Has episodes of failure and resist aggressive impulses to assault others or to destroy property. No. Has motor or verbal tics, sudden, rapid, reoccurrent, non-rhythmic motor or verbal activity. Has repetitive motor behavior, hand waving, body rocking, pixat skin. Has obsessions, persistent and intrusive inappropriate ideas, thoughts, or impulses. Has compulsions, repetitive behaviors or mental acts to reduce anxiety or distress. Often is restless or seems keyed up or on edge. Often is easily fatigued. I don't think so. Often has difficulty concentrating. Mind goes blank. Well, I wouldn't know. Often is irritable. No. Often has I don't know. I don't think so. Often has excessive anxiety or worried. Apprehensive expectations. Often has daytime sleepiness. Unintended sleeping in inappropriate situations. No. Often has excessive emotionally and attention-seeking behavior. Often has need for undue admiration, grandiose behavior, or lack of empathy. Okay, I gotta hold the camera in my hand now because the other camera died on me. Okay, so where were we here? Often has a need for undue admiration, grandiose behavior, and lack of empathy. I don't believe so. Often has instability in relationships with others, reactive mood, and impulsivity. Boy, oh boy, this is getting tedious here. Sometimes for at least a week has inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. I don't believe so. Sometimes for at least a week is more talkative than usual or seems pressured to keep, no. Sometimes for at least a week has flight of ideas or says that thoughts are racing. No, I don't think so. Sometimes for at least a week has elevated, expansive, or euphoric mood. No. Sometimes for at least a week is excessively involved in pleasurable but risky activities. No. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks has depressed mood, sad, hopeless, discouraged. No. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks has irritable or cranky mood, not just when frustrated. No. Like I said, there's no behavioral problems. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks has markedly diminished interest in pleasure in most activities. No, like there's nothing. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks has psychomotor agitation, even more active than usual. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks has psychomotor retardation, slowed down in most activities. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks is fatigued or has loss of energy. Sometimes for at least 2 weeks has feelings of worthlessness or excessive inappropriate guilt. Sometimes for 2 weeks has diminished ability to think or concentrate. Chronic low self-esteem most of the time for at least a year. Chronic poor concentration or difficulty making decisions most of the year for at least a year. Chronic feelings of hopelessness most of the time for at least a year. Currently using hypervigilant, overly watchful or alert, or has exaggerated startle response. Currently is irritable, has anger outbursts, or has difficulty concentrating. Currently has emotional example. Nervous, worried, hopeless, tearful response to stress. Currently has behavioral fighting, vandalism, truancy response to stress. Has difficulty getting started on classroom assignments. Has difficulty staying on task for an entire classroom period. Has problems in completion of work on classroom assignments. Has problem in accuracy or neatness of written work in the classroom. Has difficulty attending to a group classroom activity or discussion. Has difficulty making transitions to the next topic or classroom period. Has problems in interactions with peers in classroom. Has problems in interactions with staff, teacher, or aide. Has difficulty remaining quiet according to classroom rules. Has difficulty staying seated according to classroom rules. Wow. So thank you for sitting through this whole lengthy video while I go through these forms. And from what I can tell, I think they are fairly normal. But we'll see, because I'm not qualified. I'm not the doctor that specializes in this kind of thing. If the doctor says that they do have autism, that would be a total surprise to me. And I guess I'll find out. But thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.